We do a few different things. We now run a very formalized recruitment program where we try and bring in 50, may not sound like a lot, but 50 young professionals through a system of interviewing them back maybe when they're juniors in college. Sometimes we even start them with internships in high school. And we start a dialogue with them. We open this up. We get about 5,000 applicants. We have a team of young professionals who go out to their school environment, interview them in depth. We cull that list from 4,000 or 5,000 down to 400 or 500, and then we bring in about 100 into New York for a 2.5-day program, which is basically both a kind of fun way of them to experience Ogilvy, but it's an intense evaluation of them. And we pick 50. And we basically rotate them through the company as broadly as we can over a 3-year period with certain marks for salary increases and things to give them some level of assurance of what they'll learn, what they'll get paid, and so on. And we've used that as a sort of catalyst for then trying to figure out how we engage in a broader way through the normal recruitment that we would be making at entry-level positions and all the rest of it. I will tell you that the biggest lesson learned in this is we have no problem getting amazing applicants. We also use this program as a way of driving diversity. So over half of the final selection are employees of color. We go to a much more diversified mix of schools than we traditionally used to. And we get some amazing talent. The problem is once they're out of the protected zone of that 3-year environment and they have to kind of live in the reality of the how the place runs every day, they are at very high risk. So our retention through year 3 is 90%. By year 5, it's maybe 50%. So we lose half of them. And almost without exception, the reason they go is the relationship between their manager and them. So they just don't feel that they've got a level of engagement that is sustained from the engagement we started with to then what they have to experience every day. The ones who stay are the ones who are lucky enough to get into the right position that meets their kind of passion points. So a young woman who was about to go, I plucked her out of the role she was doing and I put her into an HR role, which was the last job in the world I wanted to give her, but that's what she wanted to do. And she was brave enough to have the conversation about what she really loved. And I said, there's no way we're going to lose you and not execute this. But we have a big systemic problem which we are coping with now, which is the fear factor of our business, which is, we had very tough actions through the financial crisis. We have been in a margin improvement mode for a long time. And we are under intense scrutiny from procurement, client procurement, cost pressures, and all the rest of it. And so for our middle managers, they are so terrified of protecting their own worlds, the idea that they're going to be unbelievably generous and really sit down for an hour and a half with, a 24-year-old and say, well, what's life like? And, where are you having problems? I mean, they just say, go away. And so getting that culture change is huge. And now I think we've isolated the problem well enough now where we know we have to attack the middle. Because the high tenured people like me, they buy into the company from a dozen different, arguments. But the middle is stuck. The middle is really stuck. And young people today, I love them because, they know they have choices. If they're good and they understand what it means to port their skills, they don't have a problem in the slightest of making that. Where for me, my first 5 years, I was thrilled to just keep getting a job. That they didn't lock the front door. It was like I'm thriving. Not the mindset.